ID. It's me 5 at the door. All right. All right, you're good. You go inside. Hey, good morning, everyone. I have Jamie. They are a part of a cool project. Now, I'm gonna guess because of literally the new single that you've released, where it features Mod Stout. Are y'all from Chicago?
No, we aren't actually.
You guys are- Okay, cool. I just want to know if y'all did because Mod is like the homie. So either
Mod's great.
y'all are from Chicago or y'all fuck with Split Jaw and just Mod in general.
Yeah, so I discovered Split Jaw, I think last year sometime, and I just been really into like the first EP they put out, and they're really sick. The song I reached out to Maud, just to see if she would be interested, and she was, and she crushed it. So like, yeah, it's just trying to make new friends and keep connected in that way. Yeah, Split Jaw's sick. I'm super excited for what they have coming soon.
Well, let's talk about y'all for a second because
Yeah.
Sister Sleep is like such a killer fucking project.
Thank you.
Not only does the new single, Collect Your Skeletons, like it's got, it's funny. I was listening to y'all's stuff, including the EP. Isn't it just Phantom Thread an EP? Which are we like? There's just
It
3
is.
songs. I mean, yeah, like we can talk about like the weirdness of like what EPs are. Like here's this
Exactly, yeah.
song collection.
I know. I call it a mini EP because like it feels weird, like you said, like calling it an EP feels very generous. So it was just sort of like a mini.
What do you think? It's like, what is the line there?
I know. Especially because like it's two original songs and a cover as well. So like it basically just came together from like we wanted to put something out and we just thought, well, there's an overlap. We like recorded all those songs basically back to back to back. So it just made sense. But it is, yeah.
Now, what's funny is, so earlier today I was listening to the Phantom Threads collection, the mini EP.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was like making a sandwich, and I was like, "There's like some kind of My Chem thing here," and I didn't even look at like your track list. I just had it going, and then suddenly I hear the introduction to fucking the Ghosted Vehicle, and I'm like, "Hey." I'm on the right fucking track here. The big dog, like this is so good.
Oh my God, thank you. Hell yeah, I love that. That's so good.
I fucking nailed it. What I would love to know, let's start the beginning of like the Sister Sleep era. Tell me about like, because like y'all released singles kind of like almost exclusively. Like there's little EPs here and there. Like I'm looking at like all this stuff right here. It's so, first of all, y'all's art with everything is like so sick. So like starting in 2022, let's kind of walk through like, first of all, where are y'all from? What do you do in the band? They would be so sick to like hear y'all's lore.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am the lead singer as well as like the primary lyricist. Songwriting and stuff. Yeah, songwriting and everything just sort of is a mix. Everybody kind of chips in. It depends on the song, depends on all of that. And we collaborate a ton with our producer. His name's Aaron Pace. He's amazing. Yeah. But
cool. Hell yeah. No, so was this a band that started? I feel like a lot of bands start out of a few ways. One, it's kind of on accident, where it's just like I started working on, or you start working on stuff, and then like, oh man, I've got like these collections of songs. This is kind of wild. Hey, does these people want to play? Or you find out that you're a musician and a coworker's musician, and you're like, oh, let's meet up and play. and it started through there, or like, hey, I'm reaching out to, I want to start a band, and now you're finding people that also want that. How did Sister Sleep kind of like get in, like become this thing?
Right. So it was kind of like a unique situation, I think. So I was at we a lot of us were in another band called the Keepsake that put out a few
Oh, great.
songs over the year. There were a lot of lineup changes over the years. I was there from the very beginning. Me and actually the singer of I don't know if you've heard of Cascade Net. They're a great Atlanta band. Post
No, I have
hardcore.
not heard of that.
They're like progressive post hardcore kind of vibe. They're great. Definitely anybody listening, check them out. But me and the singer were friends. This was back in 2016, and we had started the project together. Just we met up and wrote a song, and things kicked off from there. And he ended up leaving the project to focus on other things, and just it was just like it was my first band though.
Mhm.
Um, and I honestly, which is wild because I always wanted to be in projects and to do music. It's always been like a dream of mine, but just meeting the right people never quite like worked out. So I was like 25 when that band started. So I started a lot later than a lot of people do when it comes to like starting music and like being in a band and perform. First time I ever performed live was that band.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I think it's completely fine. I didn't start till I was 33.
That's
Like
so
it was
awesome. No, I love that. No, that's sick. I love that. No, that makes me feel really good actually. That's great.
yeah, you're
It's
fine.
yeah, we're good. It's just like I always think about that. I always think about the fact that like, I would say more often than not, people at least get started somewhere like as a teenager, and that was always my hope. It just never happened.
Sure.
Uh,
Mhm.
but back to get on track, that project when it disbanded in 2020, it was the pandemic hit, and it was just like everything was everyone was sort of just sitting there like, what do we do? We had some songs we had written for that band that we thought, the sound was a lot more cohesive and a lot more in a very specific direction. It felt like just heads above anything we had done before. So we basically over the months we like stayed in contact, and we had like weekly discussions, and we finally decided to put that band to rest and to focus on building something new.
Sure.
And yeah, just something with a more cohesive aesthetic and vision and sound, everything. Um,
There's
so
kind of
that's
a moment where y'all were like mourning that is like in the process of making stuff sometimes can come from the mourning of an old project.
for sure. Yeah, so it was very. It didn't take long for us to realize that we wanted it to be a new thing, because it just like I
Okay,
said,
cool. Right.
yeah, it was one of those things where we did it and we really liked the songs and we were super excited about them, and then everything shut down and it gave us a lot of time to think, and we just thought that it made the most sense to just start fresh. And when and if things were up and running again, see how that works. But it was definitely the best decision because for all of us, it was nice to start a project that everyone in it was there from the jump, at the time. Um, and years past that, like we had two of our other members, Maddie, who's on guitar, and Riley, our drummer. They joined Riley joined like a few months in, and then Maddie joined last year. So,
Cool.
but the original four is who worked on the original EP, which was In Bad Faith.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, no, Wraith and Rosary. I
Cool.
mixed them up. Wraith and Rosary. Sorry.
I'm like looking there, like, okay, which one was gonna happen? Hell yeah. Now when it comes to like um this sound, what were y'all listening to? Or what do you what was the vibe of like, okay, a lot of people pull from like a well of bands that they have either associated as like the stuff that you're either trying to replicate or the vibes that they curated we want to curate as well.
Mhm.
So what were y'all listening to when wanting to write for a project like this, where there are, threads of My Chemical Romance, like the Bring Me Horizon vibe, which is the electronic side of it.
Yeah.
There's all these things that are like kind of pulled together in my head where I'm like, oh, cool. My Chemical Romance, Bring Me the Horizon. There's all these Hail the Sun props. Like there's
Yeah.
all these things that y'all are definitely pulling from.
For sure. Like, well, yeah, with the first two you listed, that was like the blueprint originally when we were talking about it. It was like, okay, we're all like very influenced by My Chem. Like they're my favorite band. And same for Kit, our keyboardist, who is my best friend as well. We've known each other since we were like 15.
Cool.
Yeah. So both of us knew that we wanted that to be a big influence, but we wanted to do it in a way that wasn't just, oh, here's My Chem again. Like, cause that's, as much as I love that, it's like, it's not, if you want to listen to My Chem, you'll listen to My Chem.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, My Chem and Bring Me the Horizon were like, I think the initial, okay, these are two bands that we're all really into that I feel like we could make something interesting if we like mix it up together. But there was so many influences, like you said, like the Used is a huge one, and we get compared to them a lot. Hell the Sun isn't like deliberately, but like I love that band. So like that's sick.
Yeah. Their vocal structure is like you sound very similar. Like,
well, thank you.
There's so many like.
That's a huge compliment.
You're very, very talented lyrically.
Thank you so much.
Vocally, which there's something that reminds me of the Halo Sun like vocal track. Like homie is incredible. You have an incredible voice as well.
Thank you. I can see that. Like I've gotten that I think before but I've also gotten like, Gerard Way obviously is a huge influence, but also Bert from the Used, and I get a lot. Craig Owens I get a lot as well.
Sure. That whole late 2000s emo.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because Chiodos and like Drugs and stuff like that was a huge influence once again, especially on me and Kid, because that was another band we bonded over growing up. So we really just wanted to take all of these things and try to really just shake it up and just see what works for us. Yeah.
Where did the name Sister Sleep come from?
It is so. Originally, it is a My Chemical Romance reference. It's they have an old they have an old like pre-Bullets era demo that's called Sister to Sleep, and I pulled it from that because I was like that's funny, and also it's a cool name, and then I just kind of built on top of it where I was like, oh, maybe I like when you have bands referencing like a huge influence as their band name. That's cool. But then adding on to that, I was like, well, we really like pulling from cult and like occult imagery, like horror movie type stuff. And it sort of brings about that kind of vibe and mixes like the whole, like, it has that sort of religious horror, like undertone. I love the sort of inherent femininity of the phrase as well. There's a lot of layers to the name that I was like, and but it all came off of, oh, this is a cool reference to a band I love that it makes sense.
Yeah, there's something about like just hearing the phrase. It's got like this D&D kind of vibe to it too. Like
for sure. No, yeah.
Like there's something that is something. What is the best way to describe something that feels D&D? Where like if it has a bunch of like, I guess the occult part of it, the sister sleep aspect of it. It's got like this the dark occult thing is like super right up on its center with this sister sleep idea, dark robes, femininity. Like it's got priestess vibes. It's got like, yes,
feels very like ethereal, otherworldly kind of. Yeah.
Like I feel like if I was there's something about the music where it feels like if I was hosting D&D and I was doing something in some dark boarded up church and they were fighting a bunch of these like faceless nuns, like there's something like very like very Sister Sleep coded the music and everything. It's got that whole
That's
thing.
so sick. Now that's one of maybe my favorite compliments I've ever gotten on our music. So that's sick. I love that.
How did D&D all sound?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, like we're all like massive nerds. Like D&D, I've been wanting to play through a campaign because I'm the only member in the band that hasn't actually. But
Really?
yes, everyone else, yes. Weekly, not all of the band, but more than like around half meets every week to play Magic. So like, so
Yes.
it's
Let's Magic the Gathering is like, if there's a through line throughout my entire show, is that Magic the Gathering and D&D are like the underlying thing that I've like thrown. Everything is on top of that. Like Magic the Gathering is like probably the best game in the whole world outside of Dungeons and Dragons.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. Yeah, I think most of my band would agree with you.
Have you? So, if you've never played, is there something that about this this genre, the music in itself, the things that you're talking about, the macabre, this whole thing? What is the draw to this kind of? It's a realm in itself, like
Yeah,
this kind of, and we're the kings and queens of it, like Mike Hammond, the used of that thing
yeah,
where they brought this, this thing out of like rock and roll, D&D battling guns, bullets,
yeah.
like this
It's
thing, right? So
yeah.
like, what is the attraction to it?
I know for me, and I think this is kind of why the band is the way it is, because like I said, you have a lot of the band being super into like Magic and D&D, and then you have me as well as
Mhm.
other members who I'm really into horror movies and like I'm a
Mhm.
huge like horror fan, always have been growing up. So I think that's where a lot of mine comes from. And then when you mix that together, I think it ends up with something like this. But also like I'm super into like theatrics and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
very especially when done so well, like you said with bands like My Chem. I think that's what attracted me to them growing up. Being super into like finding theater and stuff like that very fun and interesting, and seeing a band be able to channel that while still having like a sort of punk energy is so fun and like so great to me. Um, I really, I don't know, like it's just within that space is something I truly just love writing and creating in. It was a big part of why
Mhm.
the band started as well, was to operate in that space and comes in some capacity. Just because the old project was very much like a first project vibe, in that there was no real vision. Like it was just we made songs and we were like, we like this, let's put it out. And there, it was very much like
Yeah.
almost like a practice phase in a lot of ways. A lot of like earning your paying your dues kind of thing, just learning how things work.
It's like
And
a session, it's session zero stuff where it's like, okay, well, let's see what we actually want. Let's do this. I think that sometimes you have to shed that husk
yeah,
of like the thing it used to be in order to find out, first of all, who actually wants to be a part of this. Two, what is the vision that we're even going for? And there's something about, I think that you've nailed it in this. Music can bring all of the ideas of things that you love together. It can be the
yeah,
center of the Venn diagram, all of it, where you can do this, horror movie aesthetic, the fantasy aesthetic, the macabre aesthetic. Like there's all these things that you can like. I think that it is truly like maybe painting, you can do that maybe in that part, right? But I think music is the most fun way to combine all those things because
yeah,
just sonically, like I think that y'all are giving that. Like the idea of like, in this genre, you can put this against any horror movie and you put this against any type of fantasy element, dark fantasy element, and the music fits right well in that space.
thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I know that we've gotten like reviews for our music before that have that I've really appreciated, because they say a lot of the time that what works so well about our music in that regard is that it feels like inherently a part of that without trying to illustrate it too much, you know?
Yeah, totally. Or it dances on top of it, where it's not like fully just in your face.
Yeah. Like it feels very like in like the horror elements are like in the sound itself as opposed to, oh, every song I'm writing is like a horror movie thing or whatever. Which like that's true some of the time. Like there are some songs that have like influences from that, like Give Up the Ghost is like a vampire type song, for
Cool.
example. But a lot of it story wise isn't pulling from that. We let the sound itself, the soundscapes pull from that. And I think that makes it even more its own thing. Like it feels even more unique, I think.
So, on the story aspect, or rather on like the songwriting in itself. So, principal songwriter, kind of, let's walk through the process. You come
Yeah,
up with the idea, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, are you doing lyrics first and then doing music afterwards?
It depends. I
Mm-hmm.
so I would say most of the time it's music first then lyrics. But I also just write lyrics, with nothing. Like I'll just write stuff and I'll pull from that later. It just
Mm-hmm.
very much depends on the song. Like on the new song, Collect Your Skeletons, I started writing it in the middle of like as the song started progressing, I started writing some lyrics out. And then as it was going on, it just sort of changed and like uh became what it was. Like but it was just like a gradual process, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I write best when I have music to work with though, for sure. Personally.
Totally. So, when y'all are writing, is it okay? So, like, I feel like there's usually a tendency for there to be like cool riff,
Yeah.
and then cool riff happens, and then like you start marrying one cool riff to another riff, and then is there kind of like this, when it comes to y'all making demos and stuff, is it kind of this piecemeal thing where it's like, cool, here's this, oh, I love that, here's this, oh, I have these lines in my notebooks note app where it's just like,
Yeah.
I personally have like this notes app that has like cool lines.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. No, I do too.
I love
Yeah.
that line. And
Like,
it's like, no, I'm just like piecing it all
no,
together.
I have an entire like folder on my notes app, like that is song like random ideas for song titles that I think are really cool. And for
Sick.
like you said, like lyrics and like just phrases that I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe we can incorporate that somehow. So definitely yes. With writing like songs though, I guess it very much does depend. So we have a Dropbox of a bunch of musical ideas, and we have some like everyone sort of contributes in their own way. Like Kit will sometimes just have a piano melody idea or anything like that, so they'll upload that. But then Chase, who's our bassist, but he's also a guitar. He plays guitar and writes guitar as well.
Mhm.
He'll have a really fleshed out like blueprint for like a song. That'll be like 3 minutes of like all kinds of stuff with some like placeholder drums and everything like that. But then James, who's one of our guitarists, he'll have a really cool riff idea, and a few things like that. So we'll sporadic like gradually add all of that over time, and then we'll kind of get together, go through, streamline it, figure out what feels good, and we just build on top.
Place of inspiration.
Yeah,
Like y'all have like this, I think the Dropbox, the Google Drive, the anywhere you guys want to put stuff. I think that's the best way to do it, because it's just like there is this. I found and talked to other artists where that is the pool, the well of like demo land, where
yeah,
it's like, hey, put all of your inspiration in here, and then when we all get together, pick your favorites and let's fucking build off this stuff. Like
exactly.
that
Yeah.
seems like the best way to do it.
Cool. It's always good to hear that too, because it lets me know like, okay, we're on like we're on a good path with it, you know?
Nailing it. I think that there's a gravity towards doing it that way too. I
Mhm.
think that people don't talk that that's how they're supposed to do it. I think
Yeah.
that, like, this is 100% like people will end up doing it this way because it is the best way to like, okay, fine, throw this stuff in the drawer. We're gonna pick our favorites, and then that will be the real stuff.
Yeah.
Or someone's like, oh wait, there's this secret thing literally in the back going, oh sick. Wait, there's this little thing. What if we put that in this key and that will work as this ending part, blah, 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 blah.
Right, right,
But
right,
you
right.
have all these pieces to work with.
Yeah, for sure. I know also like in our case, thus far we've worked with our producer, Aaron Pace. Like we've worked with him from the jump. So he's a frequent collaborator with us. So a lot of the time what we'll do is we will meet with him and share like the ideas we've been working on and choose one and just sort of like filter it through a lot of his ideas. He's super hands-on, super like I love working with like personally and the band in general. Like we love working with producers and stuff that are we're all down to like tweak things, change things, whatever makes the song as good as possible, like as good as it can be is the goal. I prefer that as to like I like having an objective voice that I trust, you know?
Yeah. I think it's really important to have someone to like, first of all, tell you no.
Yes.
Like
100%.
it's really important.
You gotta have somebody to like rein you in a little bit. And also like someone who's not too close to the product or so to speak. Like, you know, you can get lost in it a bit when you've like spent this time writing it and building it and everything like that. So to filter it through someone who isn't so attached to that extent, it's good for them to be like, hey, this actually shouldn't do this. This should do this. I think that's a good thing. And I know like it varies, like, 'cause there's musicians, you know, like everyone's different. And I know like there's a ton of the people who do not like that. I'm all for a collaboration though. Like I just want to make the best song that I can with what we're doing.
When it comes to making music, I think that sometimes there's too many hands in a pie, too many fingers in the pie. And I think that there's like, I think good producers are just the best editors. That's all of it. And
For sure.
they're the ones
good at trimming the fat.
Yeah, like they're like, hey, listen, you just rein it back just a little bit. You don't need to go like that hard into it. But they also are the ones that dress things, that they add the smallest things the best. Like, I think I like a producer that is really good at the producing, where it's like, hey, I need like the sound design stuff in my song. Like, I want to, suddenly everything cuts and it's like this lo-fi drum track. And like really, really, the actual production side of producing. Let's do this cool mic effect where it's like, I think like one of the best producers, well, he would never have said that he was a producer. I'm just misdropping names, just like it's the Nirvana producer.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Now I'm.
I know.
I do know who you mean. I know exactly who you mean.
So
I'm bad with names.
Looking up right now, and I'm gonna edit it.
Cool. They'll never know.
Where did they record this? It was recorded. It was oh, shut up, Parker. Parker's talking now. Oh my God. In utero? Was it in utero? Steve Albini, motherfucker.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So like, I like a producer, like where there's Steve Albini did a bunch of like weird mic things where they did like all the cool stuff of like, okay, well, let's just swing the mic around the room while you're singing it. Like, like I like a producer that lets you have fun, but also is into the production side.
Absolutely. Like, and that's one of the things we love about Aaron, honestly. Like, so like a couple examples. Like one, in the song "Give Up the Ghost" from Wraith and Rosary, there's some lines about grab your. God, I'm not singing the song, so my brain's blanking. It's like it's talking about like grab your rosary, grab your like your shame, like blah blah blah. We actually used like it was like grab your rosary, grab your good book and your shame. we edited in some sounds of like
Great.
rosary beads and like a book closing and all that kind of stuff in the background. So stuff like that. Like actually doing that was really cool. And then the same with Collect Your Skeletons. Like there's some during the second verse, there's some like guitar feedback that's going kind of crazy in the second verse. There's a video of when we did this in the studio where our guitarist was recording the part, but Aaron wanted to be able to control exactly the beats and everything. So he was just picking up this heavy amp and like moving it over and like next to trying to get like the squeals exactly right. And it was great. It was really fun. It turned out sick.
That is producer land. That is the best shit of producer land. 100%. I was my first band that I was ever in. It was this noise rock band called Ryoki Center, and it was the first time I ever did like a recording experience. We kind of speed ran through that whole thing. We were together for like 2 years and then broke up and did a full record. It was just whatever. But we did 5 days in a studio. And one of the weird things that I thought was interesting on a production end is the first thing that Kate Haldrup, our producer, the person that mixed and recorded and produced this, because most of these people wear every hat all the time. And she had us get our amps and turn the gain all the way up individually and recorded 10 minutes of squeals each. So it was listen, I'm going to put these wherever I want. But I need them recorded. It's like, let's just take the time to record as much squeals as possible so that we can plug in and play them wherever we want. We can slice this one up. We can reverse this one. Let's at least have this, let's make a library first. And I think that was one of the most interesting experiences that I've ever had on a production level, and something that if I was ever a producer, that's something I would 100% do in that space. Where it's like, okay, let's get the weird stuff out of the way right now before we're just recording the songs. Because that's going to be inspiration anyways of like, let's beat the shit out of some fucking guitars and amps and shit before we record this goddamn record.
No, yeah, I 100% get that. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, dude. So when it comes to like, let's talk about the future. You've had the song come out, the mini EP, an actual EP, single. Like, life is good. Atlanta band Sister Sleep is killing it right now. What does the future look like for Sister Sleep? Are you going to continue doing more of the single stuff? Are you guys planning LP? Are you trying to get through a label? Are you just are you guys gonna go full Atlanta and just like be just part of this scene forever locally, or are you trying to like get the fuck out?
So we're definitely trying to expand. Like a big goal because we've played, like last year we played for the first time up to the Northeast. And that was awesome. So we played Jersey and Pittsburgh and Maryland. It was like an 8-day run, I think, 8 or 9 days, and it was great. It was
That's a lot of long.
Yeah, it was sick. It was really fun. We can't wait to do that again. It's just rough because of financial stuff, getting that time and just trying to get it all together. So we're wanting to do that this year. We've been very focused on writing because we are trying to get a full length finished up. So we're like in the middle of that, like as we speak. We're hoping to have it completely tracked and everything by the end of the year. We would love to get it through a label, so we're like keeping our eyes open, hoping to like shop it around, see what we can do. It just feels like the logical next step that we all want to take because, like you said, we've put out a bunch of singles of like some EPs. We're slowly getting our name out there, like into people's mouths and like making it work out. I feel like a full length makes sense right now.
Totally. I mean, there's a lot of like, the reason I ask is because there's not a fucking blueprint, right?
No,
but there's like this weird thing where there's kind of this weird thing that happens when you start making music. Music when people start hearing your music. You can
Right.
make music whenever you want, but when people start hearing it and start giving you positive feedback, the only thing you want to do is give it out back more, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
like
for sure.
there's like there's these logical steps of like, okay, well, I have to go play this place. Well, or I have to play my hometown, and then I have to go play these places, and I've got to get on the road, and then I've got to start doing this. Is there ever a moment where it feels like, cool, now that we're doing these things, how are you retaining in your head that this is still like making music first, and all of these things are like cherries on top that you get to do, but it doesn't take away from being in a band? I can find sometimes that being in a band, it just starts becoming chore-ish because of all these
Yeah.
things that you have to start doing.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. It's interesting. I'm not like the best example because it is definitely my biggest like special interest, hyper focus, like passion. So it's like all I think about
Mhm.
most of the time is the band and what we're gonna do next and all. To probably to like a bad extent, like it's probably good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's probably good for us and like good for the band in general. But I think that for my mental health, sometimes it's like bad.
Mhm.
Because it is just all consuming. Um, but no, it is important just to like try to remind yourself like, oh yeah, you're just creating art. You're just trying to create something that you love and you want people to hear, and you're making it with people you care about. Um, it's about just bringing something, a cohesive vision to life, and you have to remember that that is the most important part. Um, especially because like, I mean, really like I'm learning as I go, like, because I'm the one who does like most of the social media, most of the like booking, most everything. So currently we're like basically completely, DIY with everything we are doing.
Mhm.
So for me, it is just a constant like trying to level up and learn and figure out what I'm doing. And like you said, it's not there's no blueprint. There's like that's one of the hard things I think about being a musician, especially one trying to make it, quote unquote, like trying to make it a
Mhm.
career as opposed to just um well yeah, I'm playing music and I'll just play my hometown whenever. 'Cause there's nothing wrong with that, and I
Mhm.
think that gets a bad rap too, because like doing that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to do more than that, and I think we all do. Um, it's hard finding a balance because like I also think that aiming for like the 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 peak, I guess. There's a lot of things that come with that I'm not necessarily okay with. Like I feel like you have to sacrifice a lot of things if you really want to get to that point. Like if you want mainstream success, if you want like
Yes.
anything like that. Yeah. So it becomes like a juggling act, sort of, I think. Um, but yeah, like it's hard being a
What are the
musician
things
because go ahead.
Oh, so sorry. Lori, what are the things that what are the things that you're willing to sacrifice, and what are the things you're not willing to sacrifice?
Gosh, that's a good question. I I do think the extremes of it, like I'm not willing to sacrifice my like everyone's moral compass is like everyone it varies.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not necessarily like, especially for us, because we're a band. I wouldn't say we're like I wouldn't say we're a political band in the way of a band like Rage Against the Machine, where it is like
Yeah. Oh, inherently political,
that.
except like,
Yes,
there is people that do it for
yes,
a political reason.
yes, exactly that.
Mhm.
Um, but like we are like we are very outspoken, especially with things pertaining to like trans and queer issues, considering we're like a majority
Mhm.
trans and queer band. Um,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of things like I would not be willing to like there are certain like artists and like certain bands that I'm like if even if we were offered to like play with this band or this band, I would not. And it's not like
Mhm.
that's just our personal thing. And I know, but I know that's something that is like a limit. Like it's something that's gonna prevent like if we're offered something to go like to the next step, so to speak. But I know that in our case, like it matters it matters for where we stand morally, but also it matters because we are so open about that sort of thing to then just like cash in on it. Like I don't think any of us feel comfortable with that. So it is kind
Mhm.
of it.
Totally.
So that's
I
one of the
completely
things.
agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not like, brand new reaches out to me and is like, hey man, we're gonna take you on a full ass world tour. I'd be like, sorry, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely
Hey,
not.
hey, no. Like, actually, no.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
bye. I think that those kind of sacrifices, I mean, yeah, 100%. Like it's more about the ethical standing,
Yeah.
and practicing being good praxis, when it comes to those things.
Yeah.
There are like, I think one of the things that I find really fascinating is, how bands are willing to beat themselves up in order to try in order to make it right. So
Yeah.
it's like there's uh, people will lean into taking a job that is, will let them leave and not work in order to do this, and financially ridiculous thing like being in a band. Like they're
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be a bartender, and all the money that I'm going to save is for going onto the road where I'm also still not making money.
Yeah. It's, yeah, no, explaining that to someone who isn't a musician that does that is wild because it's crazy. Like there's
It's
no,
crazy. It's
yeah,
delusional.
no, it's crazy. There's no way I'm going to be able to rationalize this to you except that I want to do it and I feel like I have to. You know,
That is, and there it is. You said it exactly, kind of like how I've seen all these bands say that they
yeah,
have to. It's
it's a,
in
it's,
order. It's like you have to pay for it in blood. And the people
yes,
that are trying
yeah,
to determine, whether or not you make it, are seeing how much blood you paid for. Like that.
no,
That
for
is like the
sure.
weird thing, right?
Yes, 100%. Like you have to, like, 90% of the time, yeah, you're having to see how much you can withstand before you're given anything. You're just gonna have to go for it. Um, and also like what sucks is too, the reality is like to even be seen a lot of the time, like you have to spend money for that. Like it's not even the same way where it used to be like, especially nowadays, like online and everything, like no one sees just what you're posting. Like unless you're like putting money into
Yeah.
at least most of the time, like with like ads or anything like that, like, it sucks. So it's like you have to,
It's to get in front of anybody. I feel like Connor from Summer Shack, Coachella, sorry, Power Redacted, like the whole thing. Like I think he and I agree on this thing where it's like he says like tweet 7 times a day, like from your personal, but respond to everybody. I think that shit posting is the best way to garner any audience whatsoever,
you're
which
probably
is the
right. Yeah.
most reverse thing possible. It sucks. Like the game not only is rigged against you, but in order to play the game, you have to do stupid shit. And
Yeah.
it's like
No,
it's
yeah.
so annoying. And it's like in order to garner an audience at all, in order to get eyes on you at all, you either have to manually talk to fucking everyone online,
Yeah.
or you have to say
No, like,
something so stupid
yeah.
to like get everyone's eyes on you.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, it is part of why, like, I am super grateful to the people that have checked us out and also the people, honestly, the bands that we've connected with and either played shows with or we've just built friendships, even just like casually online, like with each other. And they have then been so kind to push us to their like fans. And like, we try to do the same for them. Like coming to mind, like, Split Jaw is a good example, but Pulsars, with Sales Ahead, um, the Callous Cowboys, literally all these bands that I love so fucking much, but they're all so like, I respect so much that they believe so much in just giving back and like trying to pull everyone up and help each other. That's really what it's about. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just I'm super appreciative that these bands seem to like what we're doing and seem to support us in any capacity.
It's you mentioned the Callous Cowboys and Split Jaw. Just first of all, just love them so much. Mod
Oh
is like
yeah,
the homie. The Callous Cowboys, I feel like of all the bands that are at their level, they
yeah,
are the ones that are the most grateful for their place in the space.
Absolutely.
There's something about that. There's something about them that is just there. I think that they feel so lucky, but they also work so hard and like they
No,
put
they
so much attention to the craft. Like it's crazy.
no, it is. There I have so much respect for that band. I've known most of that band for years, and like they're also one of my favorite bands. And that's
Yeah.
like not even like that aside from like me like knowing them and thinking they're great people and all this stuff. Like legitimately, their music is fantastic, and they just you can tell they just care so much about what they're doing, and they really just bust their ass. Like they
Yes. They're working 80 million hours a week, just
I
like
I truly believe
crafting that record.
yeah, I truly believe that band is going to be one of the biggest bands in the world. Like has potential to be one of the biggest bands in the world. And it's cool because like I think what they do is such a special thing as far as like heavy music, but also making it super catchy at times and pulling like pop influence, but not in a stereotypical way, like not in the way that usually core artists will do the sort of cliche like, oh, singing chorus back, but all that kind of stuff. Like it's thrown that out completely and it's doing its own thing. And I think that's really cool. Um like I really think the only thing that would stop them from being like one of the biggest bands in the world is just the way that music is now and the way that there's no like zeitgeist, MTV, this is the band you should listen to kind of thing. Because I believe if it were like the early 2000s, they would be one of the biggest bands in the world. And I still think they could. It's just going to be an interesting process, I guess. Um,
Yeah, they've. I feel like over the last 20 years, the concept of like where, how you, or okay, one of a good check of like, um, where you are in the space, is actually, I would say, Coachella is a great place to find out where like who's coming or like who has reached a very specific spot.
yeah,
And then after those moments where it's like, okay, there's that after outside of that space, I feel like if you're seeing like the next size band or the people that are like being joined in on tours of bigger band. And so like there's no you have to like piecemeal together the information like a puzzle
right.
to find out who is who in the scene now. Where like I would love if like Fuse or MTV came back with this more DIY music stuff to show who was actually upcoming in these spaces.
I
It
agree.
would be. I think that's why. Maybe that's why I do this podcast. I think that's subconsciously why I wanted to like give a voice to people in this space that are coming up and
Yeah,
wanting to talk about their stuff. But yeah, there's not a place that tells you who's up and coming. There's
yeah.
not a place that values that or something. It's
No.
weird.
Well, I think, yeah, it's like, it's interesting to see like the culture of music and all of that sort of shift away from that. And I think a lot of it is because of um, just the way like social media and streaming and everything like that. Like there's no, people aren't looking to TV, period, but like, for those sort of recommendations, which is why I feel like every genre has its like instead of like a big oh this is the new wave of this kind of music, you have a ton of subgenres that are blowing up in their own way, and
Yeah,
that's
totally.
and it's super interesting because like you can have an artist that somebody can tell you an artist or a band that you've never heard of, but they're selling out like stadiums almost, but you could have not heard of them.
And yeah, 1,000,000%. Where you like, you'll be like, oh yeah, oh, this band I've never heard of. You look it up, and it's like 1.2 million listeners on Spotify, and you're like,
Mhm.
what the
Yeah,
wait, what the fuck should I do? Like?
yeah,
How did I miss this? And that happens all the
yes.
time.
Yeah, which is it's weird because it's like it's kind of a double-edged sword because I think that like while it's unfortunate that bands aren't reaching quite the level of like superstardom,
Mhm.
um they are I think that more bands are succeeding in like what's the word? What's the best way to put it? Like in little like niches and like little like subsects, they're able to like be huge within that scene.
Yeah,
But
it's like
it
it's like Twitter polls, man. Like
Mhm.
dog. It is totally 100. You've nailed the thing on the head. when something has 1.2 million listeners, it's
Yeah.
1.2 million listeners in a room. Like they just
Yeah.
aren't, they're talking about it to each other and not talking about it to anyone else. And also 1.2
Yeah.
million is like nothing. That's like
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like actually nobody.
Right.
So y'all nailed that. It is crazy to think that like, but what that also does is it makes the distance between your piece of art, your band,
Right.
and what the stratosphere is like. It's just way taller than you could ever imagine, which is so deteriorating. It's so bad for bands' mental health to be like looking at the distance between themselves and other bands.
Absolutely. It's hard. And I know that like it's definitely something I'm guilty of. I think every band that is trying to succeed is guilty of that. And it's hard to not, you know, it's rough. Because you'll like
That's rough.
yeah, because I mean you'll see other bands that are not even just the really big bands, but like bands that are like taking off that are like adjacent to what you're doing. And you're like, look, I will say for myself, like I'm never like, wow, why are they doing that? Like it's never that, but it's more like, yo, that's really cool. I'm glad that they're getting a fan base. How do I do that? Like, what am I
Yeah.
doing?
What
What am I
what
doing
happened?
wrong?
Well,
Yeah, like what am I doing
yes.
wrong?
It's funny
Yeah,
whenever I see a band like suddenly take off, my first thought is I kind of scour their socials and I kind of
yeah,
scour like their TikTok and Instagram I want to see what dance they did, like in
yeah.
order to get in front of people. You know, like I want to see
Right,
like
right.
what
No,
made
I get
them
it.
trainier than to others. Like
It's
Harrison
also
Gordon. Harrison Gordon is a huge fucking example of just like that is a TikTok band. Like Harrison Gordon is 100% a TikTok band because homie put in the work on TikTok, and then
yeah,
that's how that exploded. Like,
yeah.
and that is just how sometimes
I'm just
these things happen.
yeah, I'm just interested in like what the next thing's gonna be like social media wise because TikTok, while it's still going, it's not what it was. You know, it's like as
Totally.
far as the getting okay, sorry, there was a lag there for a second. But
No worries.
as far as getting the like TikTok, I feel like you can still do pretty good on there and still get like discovered by people and build a fan base. But I feel like compared to a year or two ago when it was like at its peak, it's not quite at the same level as what it was. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what and if anything is going to move up and become the next like platform that bands are trying to jump on.
Yeah.
It's
I
interesting.
think something's getting made. I think something needs to be made. And I think when
Yeah,
I look back at
absolutely.
like my favorite way of finding new music, and I wish this was a way, this was like back and like there was this in the early days of like music internet stuff, I would say like 2006, 2007, even 2005. I would say as early as 2004, there was a website called Pure Volume.
Yep.
And Pure Volume, if y'all remember Pure Volume had this thing where you could post your band, you could post 4 songs,
Mhm.
and you could post like all the stuff about you. But the best part about it was you could add like your tags of like who you are and what kind of music you were, and
Yeah.
then like you could just click like next band. And it would just take you to a page of another band with similar sounds and similar
Yeah.
tags. And it was like the best way of being like, especially it was like, that's how I found like all my favorite bands from back then that weren't like the MTV, Fuse, VH1
Yeah.
bands that I love.
Um, yeah. For me, it was both Pure Volume and MySpace for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Just they were
Like
the best.
so, yeah. There. We need something that it was just so like it was so accessible and
Yeah,
not even just for like fans, but like for bands. Because even if you hear bands talk about it that were a part of that, like you just had like a direct stream, like a direct thread between the artist and the fans, and like there was so much easy communication, and then discovering other bands that were connected or like sound like you were saying with Pure Volume, like it was just so accessible. And now it's like I feel like it's also tough because it's but we're in a situation too where like music is it's easier to make than ever, which is like a good thing. Like it's easier than ever to be able to create, and like you have the internet and you have technology like at your like fingertips. But it is like oversaturated in a way where I think that a lot of listeners don't care. And that's like unfortunate, which
Yeah,
is
100%.
which to be fair, like it's one reason why I have so much appreciation for like a lot of people within the DIY like underground space, and like because I feel like there's like this desire to um push upcoming bands that should be heard, you know, like that it's like everyone's on the same page that
Mhm.
it's like these bands are getting the attention they deserve. Let's really help fix that. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that's like those I would to for me for like Sister Sleep, I would rather have like 1,000 fans like that over like 10,000 monthly listener, like, oh, I've heard this song because that's it, but I don't really care. Like this song's cool, but I don't really support the band kind of vibe. Um,
Yeah, I don't listen to my song one time.
yeah, yeah, like I've told people this a few times. Like, if I could, like, obviously, I don't want to like cut ourselves off, cut the band off at the knees, like with where we're gonna be, like success wise, because who knows. But if I had to like put into words like where I wish we could get one day, it would be a band like Silverstein, who's like a huge
One
influence
million
on,
per
yeah, who's a huge influence on the band and me, and like one of my favorite bands in the world. But they are such a good example of a band that has been doing it for so long, but is one still putting out new music that is still doing well, that is different from like they didn't just put the same record out. They have a consistent sound, but they've been experimenting, especially now. But it's still very much Silverstein, and they still sell out big rooms. They have a fan base that'll support them no matter what. It's so amazing, and they deserve it, like because they're great. But it's so cool to see that they're a band that's been doing it for so long, but isn't just a legacy band. You know,
Mhm.
like it's cool to see a band that's like, yeah, we love they do like the anniversary tours and stuff because they love those records and they know what their fans do, but they still put out new music and really consistently too. Um, yeah, I feel like that's like for me, that's like super ideal. Like the dream is like being able to keep putting out music and having people support what you do, playing huge rooms where you can afford to like you can make it a career and it's successful enough to be a career, but you're also not like, I can't go to the grocery store, you know? It's like a perfect,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, listen, I want to play the new song. I
Yeah.
think that Counter Skeleton is a perfect song to play to to define not only the future of Sister Slate, but just kind of like let's get y'all out there. So here is
Yeah.
Counter Skeletons uh, uh, by Sister Sleep.
If I'm afraid, what does that say about me? All my madness in your eyes. So you built towers from my body so tall. Frost trails just to lay us in our graves. Death is creeping inside our own. Open up your mouth and it's tired, just tired. Come for me, you know that. Tired, you are tired. Watch me play.
All right, that was Couch Your Skeletons by Sister Sleep. Jamie, y'all are the best. Thank you so
Thank you
much
so much.
for
No,
coming
thanks for
on
having
and
me.
talking.
This has been super fun. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, dog. This is I think that Sister Sleep is really like I think everyone should be listening to y'all. I think that the music is really good. There's so much music that you already have that I hope that people will be diving into these records, these mini EPs and actual EPs. And the best part is you'll be able to see who's listening to that stuff because you have so many, you'll be able to track that stuff on Spotify. You actually
Exactly.
will be.
Which I do.
100%.
I check that probably too much. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day, dog. You talk to you soon.
you too. Have a good one.